At 11 p.m., my wife told me to sleep in my car. Her real boyfriend was coming over. I booked a suite across town and turned my phone off. At 3 a.m., it exploded with missed calls. One text changed everything. Please come back. He Googled you and ran. My name is Nathan Cross, and I'm 38 years old. I work in cybersecurity for one of the largest tech companies in the country. I'm good at what I do. Really good. The kind of good that means I can't talk about most of my work, even to my own family. Or at least, I used to have a family to not talk to about it. I'd been married to Michelle for 7 years. We met at a friend's barbecue. She was a yoga instructor with her own studio, beautiful, flexible in every sense of the word, and had this energy that made everyone around her feel lighter. For the first 5 years, things were solid. We had the kind of marriage people envied. Weekend hikes. Spontaneous road trips. Inside jokes that made us laugh until we cried. We talked about kids someday. Maybe buying a bigger house with a yard. Then something shifted. It was subtle at first. Michelle started going out more. Girls' nights that happened 3 times a week. Yoga retreats that lasted entire weekends. New clothes that she'd wear once and never again. And she started talking about Jake. Jake was her friend from the studio. A personal trainer who rented space in her building. According to Michelle, he was inspirational and really understood the wellness lifestyle. Nathan, you work too much, she'd tell me. You're always on your laptop. Always distracted. Jake says relationships need presence and intention. Jake says a lot, doesn't he? I'd respond, trying to keep the edge out of my voice. He's just a friend who gives good advice. Right. A friend. The signs were all there. Late-night texts she'd hide. Perfume that wasn't hers on her clothes. The way she'd light up when her phone buzzed, then dim when she realized it was me. My buddy from work, Carlos, noticed before I fully admitted it to myself. Man, I don't want to be that guy, he said over lunch one day. But Michelle's Instagram is interesting lately. What do you mean? He showed me. Photos of Michelle at restaurants I'd never been to. At a concert I didn't know she'd gone to. And in several photos, partially cropped out but still visible, was a man's arm. Always the same watch. Always the same tattoo on the wrist. Could be anyone, I said weakly. Could be, Carlos agreed. But it's not, is it? I spent that evening going through her social media like a forensic investigator. And there he was. Jake Morrison. Personal Trainer. 6-pack abs. Inspirational quotes in every caption. The kind of guy who calls himself a CEO of his own destiny. And in his photos, there was Michelle. Sometimes cropped, sometimes in the background, sometimes fully visible with comments like "great energy today" and "blessed to know real ones." I could have confronted her then. Should have, probably. But I wanted to see how far she'd take it. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night. I was working from home, finishing up a security audit that was due the next morning. Michelle came home around 10 p.m., which was earlier than usual lately. She walked into my office without knocking. Nathan, we need to talk. I looked up from my laptop. Okay. What's up? I need you to leave tonight. I blinked. Excuse me. Just for tonight. Sleep somewhere else. Your car, a hotel, I don't care. But you can't be here tonight. Why? I asked, even though I knew. Jake is coming over. We are going to talk. About us. About our future. And I need space to figure out what I want without you here. The audacity of it hit me like a physical blow. You want me to leave my own house so your boyfriend can come over? He's not my boyfriend, she snapped. He's someone who actually sees me. Who makes me feel alive. You're always working, always distracted. Jake makes me feel like I matter. So you're having an affair. I'm exploring my options, she corrected, like that made it better. And tonight, I need you gone. Just give me this one night to figure things out. Ich zerrte her. At this woman I'd married. This woman I'd loved. This woman who was asking me to sleep in my car so she could fuck another man in our bed. Fine, I said. Her eyes widened. Really? Sure. You want me gone. I'm gone. Take all the time you need. I saved my work, closed my laptop, grabbed my keys and wallet, and walked out. Michelle actually looked surprised that I didn't fight. But here's what she didn't know. I don't fight when I'm angry. I strategize when I'm calm. And I was very, very calm. I got in my car and drove. Not to some parking lot to sleep like a homeless man. Not to a friend's couch to explain my humiliation. I drove to the Pinnacle Hotel downtown. 5-star. $600 a night. I booked the executive suite with the city view. Then I ordered room service. Steak. Lobster. A bottle of wine that cost more than Michelle spent on groceries in a month. I ate slowly, enjoying every bite, watching the city lights from my floor-to-ceiling windows. Then I turned off my phone. Not just silent. Off. Completely powered down. And I went to sleep in a king-size bed with sheets that had a higher thread count than our entire relationship apparently had value. I woke up at 6 a.m. feeling more rested than I had in months. I ordered breakfast. Took a long shower. Put on the hotel robe. Started planning my day. Around 7 a.m., I turned my phone back on. It exploded. 43 missed calls. 67 text messages. 12 voicemails. All from Michelle. The call started at 3:17 a.m. I scrolled through the texts, watching the progression in real time. 12:47 a.m. Jake's here. Thanks for giving us space. 1:15 a.m. This feels right. I think I know what I want now. 2:33 a.m. We were talking about you. Jake wanted to know what you do for work. 2:51 a.m. I told him you work in cybersecurity. He asked what company. 3:04 a.m. Nathan, where do you work exactly? Jake is asking. 3:12 a.m. He just Googled you. 3:15 a.m. Nathan, call me. 3:17 a.m. Call me now. 3:19 a.m. He left. He just left. He literally ran out of here. 3:24 a.m. Why didn't you tell me you work for the Department of Defense? 3:31 a.m. Jake is freaking out. He thinks you're going to have him killed. 3:45 a.m. Please come home. We need to talk. This is serious. 4:02 a.m. I'm scared. What if he tells people? What if this gets you in trouble at work? 4:33 a.m. Nathan, please. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Please come back. 5:16 a.m. I'm so sorry. Please. I love you. This was so stupid. Please come home. I sat there in my hotel robe, eating a croissant, reading these messages like they were a movie script. Then I read the voicemails. The first few were angry. Why aren't you answering? This is important. Then panicked. Nathan, Jake is losing his mind. He thinks you're CIA or something. He thinks you're going to make him disappear. Then desperate. Please, baby, please call me back. I made a horrible mistake. I don't want Jake. I want you. I've always wanted you. Please come home. I finished my breakfast. Took my time. Then I called Carlos. Dude, it's 7 in the morning, he answered groggily. Michelle kicked me out last night so her boyfriend could come over. What? Yeah. So I got a hotel suite, turned off my phone, and had the best night's sleep in months. That's actually kind of badass. What are you going to do? I'm going to finish my morning, check out around noon, and then go home and see what's waiting for me. You're not going to rush back. Why would I? She wanted space. I'm giving her space. Carlos laughed. You're cold, man. I respect it. I spent the morning working out in the hotel gym, using the spa, and generally treating myself like I mattered. Because I did matter. And I'd forgotten that somewhere along the way. At noon, I checked out. Left a generous tip for housekeeping. Got in my car and drove home slowly, stopping for good coffee on the way. I pulled into my driveway at 1:30 p.m. Michelle's car was there. So was Jake's truck. Interesting. I walked in through the front door like I owned the place. Because I did. Michelle was pacing in the living room. Jake was sitting on my couch, looking like he'd seen a ghost. They both jumped when I walked in. Nathan. Michelle rushed toward me. Thank God. We've been trying to reach you all night. I know, I said calmly, setting my keys on the counter. I turned my phone off. Needed the sleep. You turned it off? During an emergency. What emergency? I asked. You asked me to leave so you could have your boyfriend over. I left. Gave you space. What's the emergency? Jake stood up. He was tall, muscular, exactly what you'd expect from someone who calls himself a fitness entrepreneur. He also looked terrified. Mr. Cross, he said, and his voice actually shook. I want to apologize. I didn't know. Michelle never mentioned. I had no idea you were, what you are. What am I? I asked innocently. I Googled you, Jake said. Your LinkedIn says you're a senior cybersecurity analyst for the Department of Defense. Your profile mentions work with DARPA. There are articles about you testifying before Congress about national security threats. So I. Jake swallowed hard. I may have some things in my past. Nothing major. Just some youthful indiscretions. Stuff that's probably in databases. Stuff that someone with your access could probably find. Like what? I asked, genuinely curious now. Jake looked at Michelle, then back at me. I don't want any trouble, man. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were connected like that. I'm just going to go and we can forget this ever happened. Jake has a felony from 10 years ago, Michelle blurted out. Drug possession with intent to distribute. He did 2 years. He's been clean since then, but it's still on his record and he's worried you're going to, I don't know, use government resources to destroy his life or something. I looked at Jake. Really looked at him. He wasn't cocky anymore. Wasn't the inspirational fitness guru with all the answers. He was just a scared guy who'd made some bad choices and thought I was going to weaponize the federal government against him for sleeping with my wife. Jake, I said calmly. I work in cybersecurity. I protect infrastructure from foreign threats and hackers. I don't run background checks on my wife's boyfriends. I don't have a secret phone that connects me to black ops teams. I'm essentially a highly specialized IT guy who happens to work for the government. But the DARPA stuff is about protecting electrical grids and financial systems, not about ruining the lives of personal trainers. Jake looked like he might cry from relief. So you're not going to do anything? To you? No. You're not worth the effort. But you should leave. Now. He didn't need to be told twice. He grabbed his keys and practically ran out of my house. Michelle and I stood in silence for a moment. Nathan, she started. No, I said. You don't get to talk yet. You kicked me out of my own house so you could fuck that idiot. You told me to sleep in my car. You humiliated me in the place where I'm supposed to feel safe. I know, I was wrong. And when it didn't go the way you planned, when your boyfriend turned out to be a scared felon who thought I was Jason Bourne, you panicked. You didn't call me because you realized you made a mistake. You called me because you were scared of consequences. Tears started running down her face. That's not true. I realized I was wrong. I realized I love you. You realized Jake wasn't who you thought he was. That's not the same thing. Nathan, please. I made a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll do whatever it takes. I looked at her. Really looked at her. This woman I'd built a life with. This woman who'd asked me to leave so another man could take my place. Here's what's going to happen, I said calmly. I'm going to pack some things. I'm going to stay somewhere else for a while. And you're going to think about whether you actually want to be married to me, or if you just want to be married to the idea of me. I want to be married to you. No. You want to be married to someone who makes you feel important, who pays attention, who makes you the center of his world. And I failed at that. I know I did. I worked too much. I was distracted. I took you for granted. So we can fix it. But you didn't come to me and say, I'm unhappy, we need to work on this. You went out and found someone else, and then you kicked me out of my own house so you could be with him. That's not a mistake, Michelle. That's a choice. A series of choices. Please, she sobbed. Please don't leave. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you are, I said. But sorry doesn't undo what happened. Sorry doesn't make me forget that you told me to sleep in my car. I walked to our bedroom and started packing a bag. Michelle followed me, crying, begging, promising to change. I packed methodically. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop, important documents. Where are you going? She asked. Hotel. Maybe Carlos's place. I don't know yet, but I need space to think. How long? As long as it takes. Are you filing for divorce? I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe. Probably. I haven't decided yet. Nathan, please. Michelle, stop. Just stop. You wanted me gone last night. I'm gone. You wanted space. You've got space. Now deal with it. I walked out with my bag. She stood in the doorway crying as I loaded my car. I love you, she called out. I didn't respond. Just got in my car and drove away. I ended up at Carlos's place. He and his wife Maria set me up in their guest room without asking questions. Well, not many questions. So Jake thought you were going to drone strike him. Carlos asked that evening over beers. Apparently. That's amazing. You should have played it up. Told him you had to make a call to check with Langley or something. I laughed despite myself. He was terrified. Michelle said he has a felony record. Thought I was going to destroy his life. Are you? Maria asked, and she was serious. No. He's pathetic, but he's not worth the effort. Plus, it would be highly illegal and I'd lose my job and probably go to prison. Right. Forgot about that part. People watch too many movies, I said. They think government work means I have unlimited power to ruin lives. I write security protocols and analyze threat assessments. I'm basically a very specialized accountant. A very specialized accountant who Michelle kicked out for a felon with abs, Carlos corrected. Fair point. Over the next few days, Michelle kept calling, kept texting, kept begging. She sent flowers to Carlos's house, wrote long emails about how she'd made a mistake, promised to quit the yoga studio, promised to never see Jake again, promised anything and everything if I'd just come home. But here's the thing about promises made in panic. They're not worth much. I spent those days thinking, really thinking about what I wanted. Did I still love Michelle? Honestly, yes. You don't just turn off 7 years of love overnight. But did I trust her? No. Not even a little bit. Could that trust be rebuilt? Maybe. With years of work. With complete transparency. With her proving through consistent actions that she was committed. But did I want to put in that work? Did I want to spend years wondering if she was telling the truth? Wondering if the next girls' night was really girls? Wondering if she was texting someone she shouldn't be? That's not a life. That's a prison sentence. A week after the Jake incident, I met Michelle for coffee. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes. Hair pulled back. No makeup. The opposite of the glowing, confident woman who'd kick me out. Thank you for meeting me, she said quietly. I said I would. I know you don't believe me, but I really am sorry. I was selfish. I was stupid. I threw away something real for something that was never going to last. You're right, I said. I don't believe you. She flinched. What can I do to prove it? Nothing. Because it doesn't matter. What do you mean? I mean, even if you're genuinely sorry, even if you never do anything like this again, I'll never trust you. And a marriage without trust isn't a marriage. It's just two people living in the same house, slowly poisoning each other with doubt and resentment. So you're filing for divorce? Yes. She started crying again. Because of one mistake. No. Because you asked me to leave my own home so another man could take my place. Because you didn't think about me or our marriage or our vows. You only thought about yourself. And when it went wrong, you didn't even apologize for hurting me. You apologized because you got scared. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Michelle. You taught me that. We sat in silence for a moment. I heard Jake left town, she said finally. Good for Jake. He really thought you were going to ruin his life. I know. Your boyfriend is an idiot. He wasn't my boyfriend, she said weakly. Michelle, stop. We both know what he was. Own it. At least have the courage to be honest now. She looked down at her coffee. Will you at least consider counseling? Before you make this final?
No.
Why not? Because I've already made my decision. I spent a week thinking about nothing else, and I realized something important. I deserve better than this. I deserve someone who chooses me, who values me, who wouldn't even consider asking me to leave so someone else could come over. I never slept with him, she said suddenly. That night. We didn't. He left before anything happened. I know, I said. You do. You told me he Googled me at 2:51. That you told him where I worked. That he left at 3:12. That's not enough time for anything to happen. So yeah, I know you didn't sleep with him that night. But you wanted to. You planned to. You kicked me out so you could. The only reason you didn't is because he got scared. Not because you changed your mind. She didn't have an answer for that. My lawyer will contact you, I said, standing up. The divorce will be simple. You can have the yoga studio and whatever you brought into the marriage. I'll keep the house and my accounts. We'll split whatever's left. Nathan. Goodbye, Michelle. I walked out of that coffee shop and felt lighter than I had in months. The divorce took 4 months. Michelle tried to fight it at first, but her lawyer told her she didn't have a case. Adultery, or attempted adultery, was still grounds in our state. And asking your spouse to leave so you can entertain someone else? That didn't play well in court. She signed the papers, took her settlement, moved into an apartment across town. I heard through mutual friends that the yoga studio closed 6 months later. That Michelle moved to California to start over. That Jake got arrested again for violating his parole by leaving the state without permission. None of it mattered to me. Because I'd moved on. I threw myself into work. Got promoted. Started traveling for conferences. Met interesting people who valued what I did instead of resenting it. And about a year after the divorce was final, I met someone. Her name was Rachel. She was a federal prosecutor. Smart. Driven. Understood the demands of government work because she lived them too. On our third date, she asked me about my marriage. Why'd you get divorced? She asked over wine. My ex-wife kicked me out so her boyfriend could come over. Then panicked when he Googled me and found out I work for the DOD. Thought I was going to make him disappear. Rachel laughed so hard she snorted wine. Are you serious? Dead serious. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I know, but it taught me something important. What's that? That I'd rather be alone than be with someone who doesn't respect me, and that anyone worth having wouldn't ask me to leave in the first place. Rachel smiled. I like that. And for the record, I would never kick you out. Good to know. But if I did, could you actually make someone disappear? Absolutely not. But I'm happy to let people think I can if it means they leave me alone. She laughed again. And I realized something. I hadn't laughed like this with Michelle in years. 2 years later, Rachel and I got married. Small ceremony. Close friends and family. Nothing fancy. And on our wedding night, she leaned over and whispered, "You know what the best part about marrying you is?" What? I never have to worry about you making ex-boyfriends disappear. You're too ethical and it would violate about 40 federal laws. Exactly right. But they don't know that, she said with a grin. No, I agreed. They definitely don't. Looking back now, 3 years after that night Michelle kicked me out, I can honestly say it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Not because I wanted my marriage to end, but because it ended in a way that left no doubt, no second guessing, no wondering if I should have tried harder. She made her choice. And that choice freed me to make mine. Some people might say I should have fought for my marriage. Should have tried counseling. Should have given her a second chance. But here's what I know. You can't fight for someone who's already chosen someone else. You can't counsel away disrespect. And second chances are only meaningful when someone actually understands what they did wrong. Michelle never understood. She was sorry she got caught. Sorry it went badly. Sorry Jake wasn't who she thought he was. But she was never sorry for hurting me. Not really. And I deserved better than that. We all do. So when people ask me how I handled my wife kicking me out for another man, I tell them the truth. I booked a 5-star hotel, turned off my phone, had the best night's sleep in months, and woke up knowing exactly what I was worth. And then I built a life that reflected that worth. Michelle taught me what I didn't want. Rachel showed me what I deserved. And Jake taught me that sometimes the universe has a sense of humor. Because watching a cocky personal trainer run screaming from my house because he thought I was a government assassin? That's comedy gold. And every time I tell that story at parties, Rachel laughs like it's the first time she's heard it. That's how I know I married the right person. The second time, anyway.